So that was a short live performance playing the Tetra in multi-timbral mode with a small USB keyboard. The role that Plexus played probably wasn't entirely clear, but it was significant, and I'm going to show you all the details now. To start, you can't simply connect a USB keyboard like this directly to Tetra. So the first thing to consider is that Plexus is being the USB host. Now the keyboard is sending notes on MIDI channel 1 to Tetra. Since Tetra is working in multi-timbral mode, it will accept notes on 4 different MIDI channels. Each channel plays a different voice, which I can demonstrate by switching the MIDI channel the keyboard is sending. So the idea is I want the keyboard to be divided up into zones, where each zone will transmit on a different channel so that it plays a different sound. You can't do that on this keyboard alone. Plexus is what's making that possible. I'll start by setting it up to play just the bass sequence on MIDI channel 1. Now the only task that Plexus needs to do for the bass sound is to place it into the keyboard zone, because right now it'll play when I press any key. To do that, I go into the filter section on output 1 and choose the note high filter. I choose the MIDI channel that I want the filter to operate on, in this case channel 1. Then I set the value to 043. And that's it. Now notes won't play beyond a certain key press. Next is the drum sequence. The drums will play only when Tetra receives notes on MIDI channel 2, but the keyboard is only sending MIDI channel 1. There's a filter in Plexus to remap channels, so one thing I could do is remap channel 1 to channel 2. However, because channel 1 now has been remapped, the bass no longer plays. Let's reset the mapping and take a different approach. If we enable output 2 and physically change the cable, we can put new filters on output 2 like the channel map. That works, but you can already see the problem. I had to physically connect Tetra to output 2. If I move the cable between output 2 and output 1, I'll have the different sounds on each, but Tetra only accepts one input. What's needed here is a merge, so that output 1 and output 2 both send their data to a single connection. You could do that by putting another box between Plexus and Tetra, and that box could even be another Plexus which is doing simple merging. But there's a better way using only one Plexus. What I'm going to show you now is a new feature that'll be coming out in the next firmware release. It's called Output Redirect. We can direct all of the messages from output 2 into output 1 and have them logically merge. All that's left now is to set the drum zone for the keyboard. We want that sound to play only on one key, so we'll go into the filtering for output 2 and set the drum's note low and note high filters. Now we have our bass sequences playing down here, and our drum sequence only plays on this single key. For the third sound, which are strings, we've already covered how this will initially go. I'll use output 3, and I'll remap MIDI channel 1 to MIDI channel 3, and then I'll set the output redirect. Now the strings are present on the entire keyboard, but I don't like the octave range. So I'll use the transpose filter now to raise it 3 octaves. Now the strings can play in unison with the bass sequence in their new octave. I also want to set a zone for the strings so that they only play along with the bass notes. There's one sound left to do, and it uses all the techniques I've already shown, so I'll just set it up without discussion. Now that it's all set up, I can store it as a new preset in Plexus. Also, during different parts of the performance, I can even mute the strings to turn them off. And that's it for this example. But there's a lot more you can do with Plexus to make things possible that would be difficult to manage without it, and to do more with less gear. So check out all the features on our website.